What if I told you that people are constantly revealing things about themselves without realizing it? Not through some secret body language trick, not because you can magically read minds, but through the tiny patterns in the way they behave, the way someone responds when you disagree with them, the way they react when you stop giving them attention, the way they talk about people who aren't in the room, even the things they repeatedly do without thinking. Once you understand a few basic principles of human psychology, you may start noticing things you've never noticed before. And suddenly, certain people's behavior begins to make a lot more sense. So in this video, I'm going to show you 6 psychological principles that can completely change the way you look at everyday human behavior. And number 6 is especially important because it can change the way you look at yourself. 1. People don't always react to you. They react to what you represent. Imagine you say something completely harmless to someone, and suddenly, they become defensive. You might think, "What did I even do?" But here's something interesting. Sometimes their reaction isn't really about you. Human beings don't experience the world objectively. We interpret everything through our previous experiences, expectations, fears, and beliefs. Two people can hear the exact same sentence and walk away with completely different interpretations. Why? Because they're not responding only to your words. They're responding to what those words mean to them. For someone who has been criticized constantly, even harmless advice might feel like an attack. For someone who has experienced rejection, a delayed reply might feel like abandonment. For someone who has been betrayed before, innocent behavior might look suspicious. This doesn't mean every reaction is justified. It simply means that people bring their history with them. So the next time someone's reaction seems strangely intense, before immediately thinking, "What's wrong with this person?" consider another possibility. Something about the situation may have touched an old emotional pattern. 2. What people do repeatedly matters more than what they promise. People are very good at explaining themselves. "I didn't mean it. I'll change it. I didn't realize I was doing that." And sometimes they genuinely mean it. But psychology teaches us something important about behavior. Point 1 isolated action tells you very little. Patterns tell you much more. Imagine someone apologizes every time they hurt you, but keeps doing exactly the same thing. Their apology may be sincere in that moment, but the pattern is still there. Or imagine someone constantly tells you that they support you, but disappears whenever you actually need them. Again, one explanation doesn't erase a repeated pattern. This isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about learning to distinguish between what someone says once and what they consistently do. Because words can describe intentions, behavior reveals habits, and habits are often much more informative. 3. People value things differently when they feel they might lose them. Here's a strange thing about human psychology. Sometimes we don't fully appreciate something until we believe we're about to lose it. Think about a friendship. Someone is always available. You know they'll answer your messages. You know they'll be there. And because their presence feels guaranteed, you may barely notice it. Then one day, they become busy. They stop responding immediately. They start focusing on their own life. Suddenly, you notice them. You think about them more. You wonder what changed. This connects to a broader psychological idea, sometimes called scarcity. When something appears limited or less available, our minds can assign it greater value. But here's the important part. This doesn't mean you should deliberately ignore people to make them chase you. That's not healthy psychology. The deeper lesson is about human attention. We often don't realize the value of something while we believe it will always be there. And that applies to people, time, opportunities, and even ordinary moments. Sometimes losing access to something doesn't create its value. It simply reveals that we weren't paying attention to its value before. 4. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty. Have you ever sent someone a message and they didn't respond? 5 minutes, nothing. 30 minutes, nothing. 3 hours, still nothing. And suddenly your brain becomes a detective. Did I say something wrong? Are they angry? Did they see the message? Maybe they're ignoring me. Meanwhile, they could simply be taking a shower. But your brain doesn't know that. And uncertainty can be uncomfortable. When we don't have an answer, our minds naturally try to fill in the missing information. And here's the problem. Your brain doesn't always fill the gap with the truth. Sometimes it fills it with the explanation that feels most believable based on your fears and previous experiences. That's why uncertainty can create so much overthinking. The mind wants closure. It wants the story to make sense. So when you find yourself obsessing over something you don't have an answer for, ask yourself, am I reacting to what I actually know, or am I reacting to what I'm imagining? That single question can save you from an enormous amount of unnecessary anxiety. 5. People often remember how you made them feel more than what you said. Think about someone you met years ago. Maybe you can't remember the exact conversation. Maybe you don't even remember what you were wearing. But you remember how you felt around that person. Comfortable, embarrassed, excited, judged, safe. Unimportant. Human interactions aren't just collections of words. They're emotional experiences. And emotions can make certain experiences particularly memorable. That's why someone can say hundreds of nice things to you. But one humiliating comment can stay in your mind for years, or why you can forget an ordinary conversation. But remember exactly how someone made you feel during a difficult moment. This is one reason emotional experiences can have such a powerful effect on relationships. So if you want to understand why someone remembers you, don't only think about what you said. Think about the experience they had around you. Did they feel heard, respected, dismissed, safe, judged? Sometimes that's what stays with people. 6. You are not as good at reading yourself as you think. And now we get to the part that changes the entire video. We've spent the last several minutes talking about understanding other people. But there's a problem. Human beings are also capable of misunderstanding themselves. You might say, I know exactly why I did that. But sometimes, you don't. Our decisions can be influenced by emotions, habits, previous experiences, social pressure, expectations, and things we're barely conscious of. And that's why self-awareness isn't simply knowing your personality. It's being willing to question your own explanations. For example, why am I so angry about this? Maybe you're not angry about what happened today. Maybe today simply reminded you of something that happened before. Why do I keep going back to this person? Maybe it's love. Maybe it's familiarity. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's unfinished emotional business. Maybe it's several things at once. The point isn't to find one magical explanation for everything you do. The point is to become curious about your own behavior. Because the same psychological principles we use to understand other people also apply to us. And sometimes, the person we understand least is ourselves. So, after hearing all of this, does it mean you can now read people's minds? Absolutely not. And that's actually important. Psychology isn't a superpower that lets you know exactly what another person is thinking. People are complicated. Behavior can have many explanations. But understanding psychology can give you something much more useful: the better questions. Instead of immediately asking, why is this person acting like this? You might ask, what could be influencing their reaction? Instead of, they said they'll change. You might ask, what does their pattern of behavior show? Instead of, why can't I stop thinking about this? You might ask, what am I actually responding to? The situation itself, or the uncertainty surrounding it? And instead of always trying to figure out everyone else, you might occasionally stop and ask, what is my own mind doing right now? Because the more you understand human psychology, the less confusing human behavior becomes. Not because people suddenly become predictable, but because you start noticing the patterns. And once you start seeing those patterns, you can't really unsee them. This is everything psychology. If you enjoy discovering the hidden psychology behind everyday thoughts, emotions, relationships, and behavior, subscribe, because there's a lot more